Today, we talk about another piece of legislation, the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act of 2002, or BICRA, except nobody calls it that. Everybody calls it the McCain-Feingold Act because of its two sponsors, John McCain, Republican, and Russ Feingold from Wisconsin, a Democrat. People had been trying to fix the problems under FECA really since the Buckley case, but they hadn't been able to get the consensus to do it until now. So the first problem they're trying to get after is that soft money problem. People just bypassing those contribution limits and giving to the parties who then pass the funds on to the candidates. Well, no more. Under McCain-Feingold, any money that's given to the parties is hard money. And so you're limited in the amounts that you can contribute to a political party, and PACs are also subject to those limitations. The big issue that we talked about yesterday was the issue ads, the ones that were basically permitted under the Buckley versus Vallejo decision. And so McCain-Feingold changes the definition of a political ad and an electioneering communication. And so ads can't be paid for directly by corporations or unions. It can be paid for by their general election funds if they run 60 days before the election, or if they reference a clearly identifiable candidate for federal office. Okay, so no more of these games like we talked about with Willie Horton, where it's, Dukakis is soft on crime. Well, they didn't use the magic words, so it's an issue ad. No, we can see what you're trying to do here. So now if you reference a candidate, it counts as an expressed advocacy ad, so it should be paid for with hard dollars. You hardly even have to worry about whether they're advocating for the election or defeat of a candidate by mentioning them and that the candidates in any sort of context related to issues. There's going to be no reasonable interpretation other than trying to advocate for that candidate. Don't take this to mean that corporations and unions can't pay for political speech. They can make the commercials. They should just be doing it using their PACs. And so what does that mean? It means it's going to be hard money. It means it's going to be limited to raising those funds through people who are members of those organizations. They just can't take from their general treasury funds and pay for the ads. So Bill Gates can't take the Microsoft profits and use that to run ads. If he wants to run ads for candidates, he should do so through the PAC. And then the last thing was the ad disclaimer requirement. The I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. The whole point of that is twofold. One, we can distinguish between ads that come from the campaigns themselves and ones that are made by outside groups. And two, the hope is that if you're saying these horrible things about each other, Joe Biden is horrible, he kicks puppies, he smokes in maternity wards. Hopefully, if you say those kinds of things, it's going to be pretty tough to then say at the end, I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. I was hoping that they would cut down on some of the negative advertising, but clearly that didn't work. So the point of these new ad requirements is simple. We're not trying to limit the content of anybody's political speech. That's not the goal here. The goal is that the kinds of ads that are aimed at influencing the election, that are aimed at getting you to vote for or against candidates, should use hard money. That's the theme of all of this stuff. We want more and more of the campaign spending that's going to affect the outcome of the election to be with hard money so that we know it's limited, we know that the wealthiest individuals don't have undue influence, and that we can track who's spending and the policies the candidates make. That's it. Here's an example of an ad that previously, because it didn't use the magic words, would have been an issue ad under the Buckley ruling, but now McCain-Feingold's definitions of issue ads change this.
In which direction would John Kerry lead? Kerry voted for the Iraq War, opposed it, supported it, and now opposes it again. He bragged about voting for the $87 billion to support our troops before he voted against it. He voted for education reform and now opposes it. He claims he's against increasing Medicare premiums, but voted 5 times to do so. John Kerry, whichever way the wind blows.
Okay, doesn't use the words vote for, elect, don't elect, and so previously that would have been an issue ad and could have used soft money, but now makes clear reference to a federal candidate, so